Firstly, if you've ever found the non-executive director world stuffy, unwelcoming, you've been told that you need to spend money to be able to see the board roles, if you've ever come across exclusive networks that you need to know someone there to be able to join and access board roles, if you ever thought you aren't old enough, senior enough, aren't in the know, aren't at the right golf club, aren't posh enough, then I've got a big message. And that is, I want to give you a friendly, warm welcome to explore becoming a non-exec. I'm the CEO of dynamicboards.co.uk. We launched in May 2020 and we advertise all the paid non-executive director roles across the UK. And we advertised over 1,000 in our first year. It's totally free and totally open. So anyone that is interested in exploring becoming a non-executive director can sign up, see the roles and apply. Very simple. We've got businesses, private sector businesses, family businesses, the odd listed company, NHS trusts, housing associations, public sector boards, private equity owned businesses occasionally. We've got a total mix, all different sectors included. So I thought I'll tell you some of the story behind Dynamic Boards and some of the facts and figures, but kind of here's my headline message for you. We provide this for free. Your networks might find it helpful. So please do consider whether you could share Dynamic Boards with them. Also, I'm happy to do a talk to your networks to inspire them about what non-execs do, to hopefully make them feel like it could be something they could do and to give them that warm welcome, especially if they might not have had that historically. Also, your board or your clients' boards, we can run advertising campaigns to help make sure their NED role gets out to the people that have exactly the skills, the experiences and the perspectives that they need. So particularly helping them find people from underrepresented groups. We're really good at that. So the backstory is there's not really people like me in the non-exec space. So I was a bit of an anomaly. I had a banking career, very successful, got to director level at RBS when I was 25, lending money to UK SMEs. I then went and worked in startups, and it was while I was doing that I was approached to consider becoming non-executive director on the board of a specialist bank. I was 29 and I did successfully join that board. The board was all male. The independent non-execs were an average age of 68. At 33, I've now got 3 paid board roles, or have done 3 paid board roles. And one extra encouragement is that I didn't know anyone on any of those boards beforehand. I applied and I got the role. And I've heard a lot of people speak about how you need to be in the networks, in the golf club, know the right people. And I just want to encourage you, it's 2021, times are moving on. Boards know that they need people from outside of their own networks. And so that's why it's a really good time to be looking at doing non-exec roles. I really love the work, but I thought I'd share a bit of what happened when I joined. So on that board, I was the first woman to join their board. And so lots of people were saying, this is brilliant, we've got the first woman on the board. And I was like, yes, it is brilliant. But from what I'd seen of the sort of women on boards kind of movement, I didn't feel like I was like quite a lot of those women, because the women were generally in their 50s and 60s. They're quite a posh crowd, kind of pearl-wearing crowd. And I thought, yes, you've got a woman on the board, but you've also got quite a different woman. Because I'm 29, I've worked in startups, I'm bringing a totally different skill set. So I felt like we need to start looking more holistically, even within gender, to make sure we're welcoming everyone to think about non-exec roles. The next big dawning for me was around paywalls. So I spoke to so many people who said, I'd love to do non-exec work. How do you get into it, Sarah? Like, where do you see the roles? I said, actually, it's a blooming nightmare at the moment, because most of the sites you come across, you have to pay to view, even ones that are especially for women. But there's a couple of them out there that they charge a heck of a lot of money to view board roles. And I know a lot of people that would be fantastic on boards and have been really put off by that process. Having the startup mindset meant that I always look for gaps in the market. So I saw that boards were saying they really wanted underrepresented groups on their boards. They wanted more women, they wanted more people from Black, Asian and minority ethnic backgrounds. They wanted more people with marketing skills, tech skills, all sorts of skills, and they were struggling to find them. And then on the other side, there's lots of people who would love to do a non-exec role. So there was an obvious thing here, how do you match this up? And to me, the paywalls were the biggest blocker in that marketplace. So May last year, myself and my co-founder, Dr. Scarlett Brown, who's done a PhD on how you get to the boardroom, incredibly niche. We hadn't met beforehand, but we've had a brilliant time working together over the last 3 years. We spent 2 years together researching the market and a heck of a lot of listening to customers, trying to understand the blockers and the barriers that were in place. And then we came up with the idea of dynamic boards, and we advertise board roles. We're not a search firm. We don't get involved from the second people apply. We purely advertise the roles. As I said, it's free. That's a really key thing. And we take a data-led approach. So when anyone signs up to the site, free to join, you just complete a form. That form means we've got an awful lot of information about the people who sign up, the kind of information that LinkedIn would love to have, but they didn't set themselves up with the right data architecture at the beginning. So we ask questions around skills and experience, but also gender, ethnicity, postcodes, age, lots of criteria that mean that we can make sure that we're getting a really good mix. And on that, I just want to mention we've got 48% women at the moment. So one of the reasons I'd love to get out to all of your networks is because we would love more women to sign up. We know that if we're going to improve the mix of gender representation on boards, we need more women. And we take that data-led approach so that when we work with a company, we can run a campaign. With our campaigns, we basically make sure that we're getting the role out to the right people. We do a video interview with CEOs, chairs, someone on the board, to kind of present it as a friendly opportunity that you can really see the people that you could be working with. You can learn a bit about the organisation and their culture and what they're really looking for. And we found that really demystifies this whole space and is making it less intimidating for candidates who are looking at roles. Because of our data-led approach, we can send a targeted email to the people who actually meet the brief. And that's working really well, and obviously get it out on social media. So we work alongside search firms, and we work directly with companies. We're flexible in that. So quick facts, 1,253 roles so far. 37% of them are with a search firm. So quite a lot are not using search firms as well. And we're seeing a trend in that. People trying to manage things in-house because there's more advertising opportunities like us to get the word out. And of those, there's 99 different search firms. So one of the challenges in this market historically has been, how the heck do you find the roles when they're scattered all over the place? Because you can't possibly have your name on the books of all of those different search firms. So that's part of the reason that we've worked like that. A sort of challenge I thought I'd throw in after the comment on male allyship and discussion around that. For me, I'm incredibly positive about gender equality. And I got my husband to merge our surnames when we got married, and really am passionate about empowering women. The majority group on boards is men. Generally, they're in their 60s and they're white. But I would say the narrative, particularly the male stale pale and the more Daves and Steves on FTSE boards than women, that narrative has been very damaging for bringing white men in particular that hold the board roles at the moment with us as we try and improve the gender mix on boards. I must say the movement's been successful in some ways because there is an increase in the number of women on boards, but I don't think it's been aspirational and positive. I once sat in an FRC event that had a lot of high profile speakers from that sort of women on boards movement. And I tracked how many times people said something negative about men, spoke about an initiative, or said something positive about women and having a better mix. And nearly all of the comments were negative about white men, making comments like male stale pale, that if you were a white man on a board sitting there would make you feel uncomfortable. And then some speaking about initiatives. There was nothing positive and aspirational in it. So I feel like we need to work out how to work together, bring white men with us, include them, talk about gender mix. I really like that this is a gender networks, and that we have had conversations from men today, because we need to work out how to do the mix better. We need to talk, for example, about multi-generational boards, not young people on boards, gender mix rather than women on boards. I think when we focus on mix, a bit like Daniela mentioned there about putting inclusion before diversity, I totally agree. I would maybe go one step further and say we're kind of all about friendly and welcoming and mix. And that's how we've taken those words and thought we want to make sure that people actually get the spirit behind what we're trying to do. And the spirit is being really friendly and welcoming, really opening the doors to people, but also really aspiring towards mix. So that was a helpful take there, Daniela. So final asks, we'd love your help to get the word out to people who'd like to hear about board roles. I'm happy to talk to your networks and to boards. So we run these campaigns and we would love to help your board and your clients' boards if you think there's any opportunities there. Harriet, just to finish, I've got to come back to the football as well. I loved last night. You mentioned the Gareth Southgate woke effect is positive. I love that. And I guess what I'm also saying is these new ways of exploring how we get a good mix on boards, and there is a cultural movement that is driving that. I think they will produce better results. Never mind just the McKinsey report. It's exciting to imagine having a mix of genders, a mix of ages, a mix of skills on UK boards.